basketball fans. For the final time this season, I'm Jaush Huntsberger, welcoming you back inside the set of Gridiron Glory. There's plenty on the agenda for tonight. We're taking you back to all of the best moments from this year and continuing our playoff coverage. We also have 4 of our 5 Player of the Year finalists in the house. So buckle up for the next hour and enjoy the ride before we crown our next Player of the Year. The year for our West Virginia teams was one that we aren't used to seeing. Parkersburg, Williamstown, and Parkersburg South combined for only 16 wins this season, with only the Yellow Jackets making the postseason. Ian McConville has the recap of the year that was in West Virginia.
Over in the wild and wonderful state of West Virginia, it was the Williamstown Yellow Jackets who extended their streak of consecutive postseason appearances to 13 seasons. The Jackets averaged 23.2 points per game throughout 11 games and won their final 3 regular season contests by a combined 86-23 margin. The Jackets lost their first-round playoff contest at Magnolia and finished with a 6-5 record. At Parkersburg South, the offensive attack, led by Jordan Kiocho, Logan Cox, and Tyler Bolin, averaged 29.5 points per game and 371 yards per game. The Patriots failed to qualify for the postseason, however, and finished their season at 6-4. At Parkersburg, the Big Reds dropped their final 4 regular season games, but Adam Lindemood led the way on the ground with 230 carries for 1,441 yards and 16 touchdowns. The Big Reds finished at 4-6.
We now welcome our West Virginia reporter Seth Austin to the desk to chat it up a little bit. Seth, this may have been a down year for the West Virginia teams, but still a fun season overall.
Yeah, Josh, I know we've overused the cliche this year, but West Virginia has indeed been wild and wonderful. We saw 2 teams that we thought had all the ability to have the playmakers to make deep runs into the playoffs in Parkersburg and Parkersburg South, but they came up just a bit short. And as for Williamstown, we kind of counted them out midway through the season, and they made the run. Won their last 3 regular season games to sneak into the playoffs, Josh. So that's been the wild factor, and then the wonderful factor. We've seen pretty good football out there.
No doubt about it. You sound a little bit confident. You think we're going to see more success next season?
Absolutely, Josh. Starting with Williamstown, they only lose 7 seniors this year, mostly on their offensive and defensive line. So that's going to be key to replace with their heavy rush attack. But they do return quarterback Jake Tracewell and running backs Trace Hart, Dakota Watson, and David Hastings. For Parkersburg South, they're taking a big hit. 19 seniors, including Tyler Bolin, Braxton Johnson, Logan Cox, and Jordan Kiocho. But they do return Logan Dillner, an offensive lineman. They're going to have to build around his success as a captain next season. Parkersburg, they lose a almost 100-yard rusher in Adam Lindemood. Big playmakers like Kwani Johnson, Matt Sanner, and Tyler Drake and Skylar Terrell on the defensive end, but they return Aaron Roberts, Dan Fox, and Chandler Hamilton. So I'm expecting big things next year in West Virginia.
All right, sounds like we got a lot to look forward to. Great job tonight, Seth. Throughout our show tonight, we'll be counting down our top 5 games of the 2012 season. Coming in at number 5, we have the SEOAL title matchup between Gallia Academy and Jackson in Week 10. Graham Fugazi has the highlights. Well, in that game, it came down to the final minutes. Big drive, here it is. All right, well, what ended up happening in that game? Back and forth a little bit. Jackson got a lead in the 3rd quarter, and the Blue Devils rallied back to take the SEOAL title, something they have been trying to do against Jackson for 2 consecutive years. They finally got over the hump, so congratulations to them. More games coming up. Sorry about that one. We got plenty more coming for you. Now, although Wahama remained the king of the conference, the TVC-Hocking had the most depth it's had in years. Trimble went 2 deep in the playoffs, while Eastern and Federal Hocking just missed the postseason. Billy Hartman takes a look back at the solid year for the Hocking.
There were many ups and downs in the TVC-Hocking this season. The Miller White Falcons finished the year at 1-9, but got revenge on South Gallia after the Rebels beat them in 2011 52-6. South Gallia finished the 2011 season at 7-3, but fell to 2-8 this year. The Rebels went from 3rd in the Hocking to finishing 2nd last. The Waterford's Wildcats went 6-4 last year. However, they dropped to 2-8 this season, going just 1-7 in the TVC-Hocking. The Belpre Golden Eagles did not win a game during the 2011 campaign, but finished with 4 wins this year, with an impressive win over Southern. The Tornadoes had an impressive season as well, winning 2 more games than they did in the 2011 season, and finishing the year with a huge win against Eastern in the season finale. Eastern started the season out at 5-2, and it looked like a promising year. However, they finished the season at 6-4. Federal Hocking Lancers also finished the year at 6-4 under new head coach Phil Hoffman. The Tomcats of Trimble finished 9-1 this year find quarterback Konner Standley throwing for 17 touchdowns. And Wahama finishes at the top of the Hocking again, going a perfect 10-0, remaining undefeated in the TVC-Hocking.
We now welcome our TVC-Hocking reporter Keith Turner to the desk to be talking about the TVC-Hocking. Keith, it's a very intriguing year for this conference.
You're right, Josh. This season has simply been a blast to cover. I got to say, full of surprises, and teams made me look kind of good with some of my predictions, but you have to tip your hat off to Wahama White Falcons. Head coach Ed Cromley has coached this team to 3 consecutive TVC-Hocking championships and 3 straight undefeated seasons. Trenton Gibbs and Kane Roush played very well for them this year, and matter of fact, they need to get ready to gear up for their playoff game tomorrow night. After Wahama, we had a very fun and open conference this year. Trimble made the playoffs for the 3rd season behind Konner Standley and a defense who had 6 straight shutouts. Talk about some defense, Josh. Fedhawk comes back from a 5-5 season, gets a new head coach, and goes 6-4. 1 win away could have gotten them to the playoffs. And Eastern also finished with a 6-4 season after only 3 wins last season. A lot of controversy with OHSAA with them. A tough loss to Southern that kept them out of the playoffs. But Southern and Belpre get 4 wins. Remember, Belpre, a team winless last year.
Right.
So, Josh, overall, just a great year for the TVC-Hocking this year.
Well, you see, again, Trimble was knocking on the door again. You chose them to be the preseason favorite. Wahama proved you wrong. Are you taking Trimble again next year? Who are you going with in 2013?
Well, Trimble's only losing 6 seniors next year. There's no way I can go against Konner Standley and Trimble Tomcats.
All right. Sounds the same thing we've heard all year. Good job tonight, Keith. Now, throughout our show tonight, we'll be chatting it up with our Player of the Year candidates. We'll start off with the man who led the Trimble Tomcats in both rushing and passing before helping them grab just their 3rd playoff victory in school history. You know him as Konner Standley.
Konner Standley, 5'8", quarterback, Trimble. Friday morning I wake up and I just feel like there's got to be a new me. What do I got to do to win this game, help my team win this game? I can run, I can pass, I can juke, being able to use my moves, quickness, how little I am. I can be in there and then break out because nobody hits me. Thinking about, is it a touchdown or is it a first down, and I get cold chills. Just like, I just did that. I just helped my team do that. I can lead my team, that's what I can do. I like running the ball better, but I like being able to run the ball and get ready to get to the line and then toss it over someone. Or get ready to get to the line and throw a bomb. I don't really think about it. I just go out and play my game, and I know what I can do, and my teammates tell me, you're the best out here. They can't stop you. And if they can't stop you, nobody's going to stop you.
All right, well, Standley finished the year with over 1,300 yards passing with 17 touchdowns through the air, and he rushed for 1,200 yards with 15 touchdowns, and he is the first quarterback in Trimble history to throw and rush for 1,000 yards. Now, throughout the night, our feature reporter Colin Brown will be bringing you interviews with our Player of the Year candidates. Colin, you have the Trimble rock star with you now. Take it away, buddy.
Well, yeah, that's right, Josh. I've got Konner here with me now. Konner, you're the first player in Trimble history to have 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000 passing yards in a season. So you're the only person in the world to accomplish that feat. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, just thinking about my cousin and what he did, and trying to beat what he did. I told my line at the beginning of the year they had to step up, and I'm going to beat some records this year.
Now I hear that maybe the key to your success is your pregame meal. You want to tell me what you eat before a game?
My grandma and grandpa bring me in a tuna sub every day at lunch, and I get home, take a nap, go to the game.
All right, now you're pretty versatile here. Sometimes you're the quarterback, but you line up as running back. On defense, you play linebacker, sometimes go back to defensive back. What's that like, just doing whatever your team needs?
Well, Coach just tells me, you gotta do what helps us, and I have the heart, and I do what Coach tells me to do.
Now, you're also the point guard of the basketball team. How does that kind of help you as a point guard, quarterback, kind of the big guy on defense?
It helps me learn how to lead my team, show them what to do without yelling at them, just kind of overlooking them.
All right, thanks a lot, Konner. That's all we've got from Konner Standley. Josh, back to you.
All right, thanks, Colin. Now, if you like Gridiron Glory and you like some high school basketball action, check out Hardwood Heroes, a show very similar to our own. Host Graham Fugazi and company will bring you coverage from boys and girls high school basketball from around the area. The first show will air January 13th at 11 p.m. right here on WOUB. But full coverage will begin in the next few weeks on our website at woub.org/heroes. Now, Wahama dominated Buffalo for the second straight week last Friday to advance to the second round of the playoffs. The White Falcons will play on Saturday this time around when they take on a 10-1 Greenbriar West squad whose only loss came to Buffalo in Week 4. We now welcome our TVC-Hocking reporter Mike Bunt to preview the matchup. Mike, this game is for a trip to the state semifinals, and these teams are both really familiar with that.
Yeah, both of these teams are very familiar with going to the state semifinals. You look at Greenbriar West, they went to the state semifinals in 2010 when they were in Class AA. Wahama, they've gone to the state semifinals the last 2 years while in Class A. And both teams have been continuing that success into this year. You look at Greenbriar West, they're 10-1 right now, and they really have been having a really good year the whole year long. Their only loss was against the Buffalo team that Wahama has won the last 2 weeks against. You look at their offense, they're really led by Malik Boatwright, a quarterback that has near 1,600 yards rushing and 17 touchdowns on the year. And Tyler Jackson, their running back, he's not too far behind rushing the ball. He has over 1,000 yards on the year, and 18 touchdowns. But then when you look at Wahama, they have an equally good offense. They have a trio of weapons. You get started with Kane Roush, over 1,400 yards rushing and 22 touchdowns, despite getting the ball less than 100 times on the year. And then Zach Ramsey, he's equally good, over 1,000 yards rushing, 20 touchdowns. But they wouldn't be getting it done without quarterback Trenton Gibbs, nearly 1,000 yards passing on the year and over 500 yards rushing. They're a team that has a ton of weapons, and they really just get it done with a lot of things that they have. And then you even look at their defensive side of the ball. Greenbriar West only allows 13 points a game, while Wahama allows only 12 points a game. This game is going to be settled on defense, and it should be a fun game to watch.
All right, well, we're looking forward to seeing it. Thanks a lot tonight, Mike. Now, it's now my personal favorite time of tonight's show, where we bring you the top 5 most bone-crushing hits of the year. But before we dive into this year's action, we'd like to take you back 4 years ago to a hit that I will never forget. We're going to take you back to my playing days for the Logan Chieftains. Watch for the little number 1 wideout coming across the screen, and I just get laid out. And for all you fans out there who want to send me a little criticism, just know I can take a hit. So let's get to this year's action. Number 5, Terry Simmerly, little guy from Trimble, doing his job. Get low, son. Up ends Ethan Nottingham from Eastern, and they go on to win this one big. Coming in at number 4, Tecumseh versus Tri-Valley. Tecumseh's running back Chuck Buchanan learns the hard way not to leave his feet. Yeah, that's the quarterback, Nathan Schrock, decleating him out of the backfield. Who said quarterbacks are pretty, boys? Nice hit there, kid. At number 3, Trimble at Nelsonville York. Konner Stanley's in the house, and he knows how to run the ball. He likes to run around people, but he also likes to run through them. And sorry, Jacob Blake, it was just your turn. Huge hit there. They go on to win this one 21-14. At number 2, Wellston at Athens. Jake Waldron, Wellston quarterback. You're going to see him leave the screen because he gets drilled by Dan Evans. Watch this one in slow-mo. Dan Evans comes in out of nowhere and takes him out of the shot. Great hit there. And at number 1, Nelsonville York's Joe Young. Joe Young had a great season and a pretty great run here, but Tyler Smith reminds him not to bobble the ball along the sideline. Yeah, that's a pretty big hit, and he got a little trash talk in there. Nice something for the rivalry there, but Nelsonville would get the win in the long run, so don't hang your head, Joe. Now that does it for the first portion of our show, but we still have plenty on the way. We'll continue our games of the year while bringing you our top plays from 2012 and our favorite times from Fan of the Week. After announcing our Coach of the Year, we'll wrap up our final interviews before announcing which one of them will be named the next Gridiron Glory Player of the Year. Our next Player of the Year finalist didn't have the pleasure of making the playoffs or even playing a full 10 weeks, but through 8 weeks of action, Blake Atkins escorted John Glenn to 5 wins while leading the backfield with 728 yards. And since he's just a junior, Atkins plans on terrorizing the MVL again in 2013.
I'm Blake Atkins. I'm a junior, I'm 17. I go to John Glenn. I was kind of the main guy on offense. Coach told me at the beginning of the year that, you're our guy this year. I'd say I'm a speed runner. I'm not really going to overpower people. Most of the seniors led by their voice, and they would usually tell us what to do, and I just went out there and did it. I always run hard, and I always play with 110%. One of the catches against West M, I caught him, made one guy miss, and then just outran everyone to the end zone. I know that the other teams are focused more on me than any other one, So I just try and go out there and prove why they should be focused on me. I'd say I'd always run with a chip on my shoulder and run with aggression and never want to get tackled. So I just keep running until I absolutely have to go down.
Atkins finished the year with 728 yards on the ground with 10 touchdowns, averaging 91 rushing yards per game. Now, he only had 8 receptions for 148 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he also played for the special teams and returned 2 punts for touchdowns. Now, back over to you, Colin. Blake Atkins is live with you, buddy.
Thanks, Josh. All right, now, Blake, John Glenn has pretty much run the ball team, and you're the primary guy. What's it like to have that weight on your shoulders?
Well, I know that I'm going to get the ball a bunch and that the team's looking for me to get most of the yardage, so I kind of have a little bit of pressure on me for that.
Yeah, now like you say, the team, you got 11 guys coming at you, let alone juking out one or whatever. What's that like, 11 guys coming after you?
I don't know, I never really thought about that. I just see one guy coming at me, I try and make him miss, then if another guy comes at me, I try and make him miss.
All right, now what kind of runner are you? Going to run him over or are you going to juke him out?
I'd say neither. I'm just going to run around him, not really.
All right. Now, how many times out of 10 are you going to run around that defender?
9.
9 times?
Yep.
All right, next season we're looking for that. Now you kind of had that knee injury. You could only play 8 games. How does that motivate you for next season to come back?
Well, knowing that I was a Player of the Year candidate this year with only 8 games in, and we had success with that, so it just motivates me more with what I can do if we have 10 games.
All right, now last year John Glenn was 3-7. This past year 6-4. With you coming back, got a couple guys coming back. Are we looking at 9-1? Is that the trend?
That's the hope. Actually, our hope is just to make the playoffs because we haven't made the playoffs in a while, but we got to replace our line and most of our defense.
All right, thanks a lot, Blake. That's all we've got here, Josh. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Colin. Now, it's time to jump back into our best games countdown. At number 4, we have a defensive Week 9 battle between Philo and Maysville that came down to the final minutes. Brad Hawley has the recap.
A rain-soaked evening and 2 teams fighting for their playoff lives set the stage for our number 4 game. In the first, after a Philo 3-and-out on their first possession, Jordan Hayes of Maysville gets the action started coming right at you for a 41-yard gain down to the 1. He gets rewarded on the very next play with the first touchdown of the evening, 7-0 Maysville. Philo would quickly strike back. Nathan Delosier gets inside Maysville territory, and later he accumulates 37 of his 131 rushing yards as he ties the game at 7. The rain and the patented tough defenses took control in the second quarter. Chase Hamble runs down Jacob Miller, and on the other side of the ball, Austin Nolden and Jordan Hayes was teaming up to shut down the Philo rushing attack. But in the third, Eli Chambers gashes the Philo defense for 37 yards, and it is 14-7 Panthers. After a Philo field goal and a Maysville safety to make it 14-12, Slade Moore's field goal goes just wide late in the fourth quarter, and the Panthers run out the clock for a 14-12 victory.
Now, being the head coach of any sports team is no easy task. It's also not easy to turn a 5-5 football team into a 9-2 squad who makes the playoffs for the first time in school history. What's even harder than all that? Doing it in your first year with the program. That's why we felt confident when choosing this year's Gridiron Glory Coach of the Year to be Maysville's Craig Clark.
When Maysville was faced with the task of filling a head coaching vacancy, school officials offered the position to longtime Coshocton defensive coach Craig Clark.
I like to get kids to play without fear of making mistakes, kind of let go, let loose.
In just his first season at the helm of the Panthers, Clark proved that he was the right man for the job, leading Maysville to a 9-1 regular season record, which included an 8-game winning streak and resulted in the Panthers' first ever playoff berth. In addition to the playoff berth, Maysville exercised other demons of years past. The 2012 Panthers defeated perennial powerhouse Sheridan 34-14, their first win against the General since 1989. Despite the one-loss regular season, Maysville's playoff fate still wasn't decided until a crucial Week 9 showdown against a Philo Electric squad that was riding a 5-game winning streak and averaging 43 points per game on offense.
They've never played in big games that meant so much that late in the year before.
Craig Clark's hard-hitting defensive squad limited Philo's electric offense to its lowest output of the season. The Panthers' 14-12 victory all but clinched Maysville's first ever playoff berth.
Well, I wanted the entire team just to enjoy the moment. that was extra special for me.
Despite his team's first-round playoff defeat, Craig Clark's first season coaching the Panthers will surely go down as one of the most memorable in school history.
All right, well, congrats again to you, again, Coach Craig Clark. Now, the 2012 results for the MVL were the most shaken up we've seen in years. While Tri-Valley remained dominant and Sheridan fell by the wayside, Philo, Maysville, and John Glenn picked up all the slack. Here's Morgan Overby with more on what went down in the MVL.
The Tri-Valley Scotties finished at the top of the MVL once again, going undefeated in the regular season, led by the dynamic duo of Nathan Strock and Austin Jones, who accounted for just under 4,000 yards of total offense for the Scotties through 10 games. After finishing in the middle of the pack in 2011, the Maysville Panthers turned things around this season with new head coach Craig Clark in charge, also achieving their first playoff bid in school history. The new Lexington Panthers rounded out at third, showing improvements since 2010, while also shutting out Sheridan and West Muskingum in their last 2 games of the season. The Philo Electrics made a surprising run in the MVL while also coming closer than ever to a playoff bid. The Electrics shut out 3 different teams in their 7 wins of the season. The John Glenn Little Muskies turned things around for the better after a disappointing 2011 season, led by Player of the Year candidate Blake Atkins, who ended the 2012 season with over 1,000 total yards. Under first-year head coach Brent Gorby, the Crooksville Ceramics took on a tough Philo team in a Week 2 nail-biter, finishing the season just under 500. The Sheridan Generals were led by future Ohio Bobcat Tate Levitt this season. After losing 15 seniors in 2011, the Generals had a rebuilding year and rounded out the bottom of the MVL with the Morgan Raiders and West Muskingum. The MVL proved once again to be one of the toughest football leagues to compete in during the 2012 season.
We are now joined by our MVL guru, Brad Hawley, to the desk. Brad, what caught your eye about this MVL season?
Well, Josh, first and foremost, the historic seasons for Tri-Valley and Maysville. For the Scotties, it was their first undefeated regular season, and for Maysville, it was their first ever postseason berth. But what really caught my eye was how strong this conference was. Outside the conference, MVL teams were 13-4. And then I love the parity of this conference. You talked about how they were shaken up.
Right.
You had Tri-Valley up top, but then 4 teams battling for second place. 3 teams actually ended in a third place tie. And it looked like we could kind of tell whoever came in second was going to make the playoffs. It ended up being Maysville.
There it was. Now, do you think we're going to see the same teams at the top of the MVL again next season?
I think so, but it's going to be a little shaky. Tri-Valley loses a lot of seniors. Austin Jones, Player of the Year candidate, Nathan Strock, and you look at Maysville, Sheridan, Philo, and John Glenn. All those teams are going to be just as good, if not stronger. So I think it's going to be like 5 teams may have a chance to walk away with the MVL title next year.
All right, well, I want to put you on the spot really quick here. Is it going to be Tri-Valley again?
I'm going to say it's going to be Coach Craig Clark's Maysville Panthers. Talk about a resume for the first 2 years. Playoff bound, year 1, MVL champs, year 2.
All right, you better be careful. Austin Jones is sitting right over there, but great job tonight,
He'll take
Brad.
me out.
All right, while we're talking about the MVL, let's switch to the spotlight of our next Player of the Year finalist, Austin Jones. This senior running back carried Tri-Valley to their 2nd straight league title and 4th straight playoff appearance. To put his dominance in perspective for you, Jones single-handedly outscored all of Tri-Valley's opponents by 55 points.
Austin Jones, running back and linebacker, Tri-Valley High School. I'm more of a physical player. I don't have much speed, but I have enough to get around if I wanted to. I usually like to run into people, just feel the contact. I don't really care what size they are. They can be bigger than me, smaller than me. I'm just trying to gain yards. I'm more of a physical player, so I like to try to lay the wood on them. And it's not that I try to hurt people. That's just a great feeling for me. Just laying people out. They're not going to stop me. That just goes through my head the whole game. Also to play with heart. That's where it starts with. That means a lot. It means I put enough work in to be part of this. It just makes me want to play better, so I have that chance of actually winning it.
Wow, he's just looking for contact over there. Now, he finished the season with over 1,800 rushing yards with 33 touchdowns and an average over 150 yards per game on the ground. He had 19 receptions for 332 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. Colin's got him on the side set. Colin, all you, buddy.
All right, now Austin, if you look at the numbers on paper, you know, a couple yards away from 1,900 total yards, 33 rushing touchdowns. You're obviously really good on offense, but you told me that you emulate a certain player on defense. Who's that?
Ray Lewis, definitely. I mean, that guy has so much heart. The way he plays football is just an awesome thing. I feel that most kids should look up to him. He flies around on the field. He plays tough. He goes 100%. I mean, he's just a great player.
Now, your senior class might be the most successful in Tri-Valley Scotty history, and Coach Buttermore said you might be the best Scotty of all time. What do you think about that?
I mean, that just makes me feel really good because Coach Buttermore, I mean, probably the best coach I've ever had, football-wise, probably in any sport. I mean, just hearing that from him, it makes me just so excited knowing that and being on a great team like Tri-Valley.
Now, you talk about laying the wood on defense, but on offense, you just stiff-arm people, run them over. What's going through your head on a play like that when it's you and a defender?
They're not taking me down. Goal line's definitely my goal. I mean, I want to get there every single play, so I just run hard. If I see someone, I try to get past them or run through them.
All right, thanks a lot. Austin, that's all we've got. From over here, Josh, coming back at you.
Thanks, buddy. Now, our top 3 games of the year all came in postseason play. At number 3, we have last week's matchup between Tri-Valley and New Albany that resulted in a total of 77 points. Nathan Takich has more.
The Tri-Valley Scotties put their undefeated regular season on the line in the second round of the playoffs against the New Albany Eagles, and Nathan Strock got it started off early for the Dogs, running it in from 15 yards out on the keeper, 6-0 Tri-Valley, but New Albany would respond. Allen Watson up the middle and around the secondary, making it 14-14, his second score already. Nathan Strock, once the lead back, fires it down the middle of the field, but is picked off by Jake Gigliotti, full extension, getting the momentum back to the Eagles. They would lead by 2 touchdowns for over 14 minutes, but Nathan Strock, the composure, hits Chris Michael on the right side with just over 4 minutes to go, making it 42-35. New Albany only up by 7. The Scotties need a stop, and they get it on 3rd and 16. Hold Allen Watson to 8 yards and force a punt. They would have one last chance to drive to save the season. Nathan Strock's bubble screen incomplete off the chest pad of Chris Michael. The Scotties will have one final chance on 4th and 10. Nathan Strock looking left and deep. Pass goes incomplete into the sideline. Scotties lose their first of the year, 42-35.
All right, that's all for Game 3, but we still have plenty of show left for you. We still have to recap the seasons from the SEOAL and TVC-Ohio, as well as talk to each Player of the Year candidate from those conferences. We'll wrap up our Games of the Year and also take you back out to all of the best moments from Fan of the Week. And of course, we still have to make our announcement on who will be named the next Gridiron Glory Player of the Year, so don't go anywhere. Well, we already showed you all of our best hits of the year, so how about we go ahead and give the skill players a little loving too. We searched all of the most impressive moments from 2012 and compiled them into one list of 10 for our Plays of the Year. Starting off at number 10, in Week 10, Gallia Academy is hosting Jackson. Wade Jarrell throws it up to his buddy Justin Bailey. They're both in the studio tonight. Bailey, great catch here, 25-yard pickup. They win that game and the SEOAL title. At Week 9, Eastern at Fed Hawk. Extra point here, holder Doske Facemeyer flips it to Max Carnahan, who throws it to Troy Grant. A lot of confusion. 2-point conversion is good, and that decided the game. They would win 25-23. Week 6 here, number 8, John Glenn Stone Morgan blocks the Sheridan punt. You get the block, you get the cookie, son. Pick it up, you got the touchdown. 28-0. John Glenn rolls. Number 7, Week 1, all the way back in Week 1. Jackson at Wellston. Derek Rafferty. Play action rollout finds Gabe Griffiths. Plenty of room, and when he finds contact, he just kind of ignores it. Great, breaks tackles, 58-yard touchdown here. They go on to win this one, 34-13. Now at number 6, Alexander versus Athens. Not a lot went great for Alexander in this game, but this was a very pretty play for Josh Barnes. Nice little sidestep here, and then he's going to meet some contact as well, but keeps the legs moving and a nice spin move for a good pickup. They lose this one 77-13. Number 5, round 1 of the playoffs. Colonel Crawford at Trimble. Konner Standley, he's also in the house, rolls out to the left, doesn't really see much that he likes, but he remembers he's a pretty good runner as well, so he sidesteps 2 defenders, an open field juke move down inside Colonel Crawford's territory. More from this game in a little bit. Now, number 4, you just saw Konner Standley dodge a few defenders. You saw this play earlier. He likes to run through them as well. against Nelsonville. We've shown this play plenty of times this year, so I think you know what's going to happen. Big truck stick right there. They win this one 21-14. Now number 3, round 1 of the West Virginia playoffs, Wahama versus Buffalo. Kane Roush, tons of moves here. Spin, juke, spin, and then a nice stiff arm to the ground. 35-yard pickup. They win 38-0, and they move on. They'll be playing on Saturday. Number 2, Athens versus Springfield Shawnee. Down a touchdown late in the 4th quarter. Trey Williams of Athens refuses to go down, breaks 2 tackles, and goes down the sideline. Even an illegal face mask won't bring him out of bounds. He gets down to the 1-yard line and would score on the very next play for the game-winning touchdown. Now, number 1, I hope you're ready for some acrobatics. Colonel Crawford at Trimble. Terry Simmerly up and over for the touchdown. The kid can fly. If you can't run through him, jump over him. I guess that's the new saying around here. Nice play for Simmerly. You get the play of the year. For the first time in 8 years, the SEOAL crown was handed to someone other than Logan or Jackson. Gallia Academy had been knocking on the door for a few years and were finally able to get over the hump. Here's Charlie Walter with the season in review for the SEOAL.
The 2012 football season in the SEOAL was the finale for the Cavaliers at Chillicothe, as next year they switched to the South Central Ohio League. The Cavaliers didn't disappoint, finishing with a 3-2 record in league play, a huge upset road victory over the Jackson Ironmen, and a share of second place with those Ironmen. The Portsmouth Trojans went winless in league play, however did pick up a victory over rival Portsmouth West. Logan struggled with an 0-5 non-conference grind, but picked up steam with a win over Chillicothe en route to a 2-3 conference season. The Warren Warriors finished with an identical conference record and finished 4-6 overall. But the title crown came down to the Gallia Academy Blue Devils, who were led by sensational quarterback Wade Jarrell and the previous holders of the crown, the Jackson Ironmen. The game didn't disappoint, with the Blue Devils scoring in the final minutes and taking the throne in their own castle. The Blue Devils were the only playoff team from the SEOAL and made it a memorable showing with an energizing win over the McNicholas Rockets before losing to the ultra-quick Thurgood Marshall.
We now welcome Graham Fugazi to the desk, our SEOAL reporter. Graham, Gallia Academy finally got the title. I know there's a few people in our audience that are very happy to hear that. What can we expect next year?
Yeah, Josh, I mean, the Gallia Academy Blue Devils, they finally got that SEOAL title that they were looking for. They returned 10 starters for the next season and have 2 offensive leaders that can carry them towards the top of the conference again. Now you have to look, they lose Nick Clegg, they lose Cody Russell, but they still have Wade Jarrell and they still have Ty Warnemont. We've heard about Jarrell, 25 total touchdowns. He had over 2,000 yards total offense. And then you have to look at what Warnemont did. He was a little bit injured with throughout the season. He still managed to have over 700 yards on the ground, 8 touchdowns. He had 13.8 yards per carry average, Josh. And then on top of that, we can throw in a little tidbit. He was the district player of the year on defense.
Wow.
So you have to look now. The team that they beat in week 10 of the season, though, Josh, the Jackson Ironmen. Jackson, a little bit of a disappointing season for what you would expect from an Andy Hall team. But they had Derek Rafferty, the sophomore, who is now going to be a junior. He played quarterback through the first 4 weeks of the season. After the Wheelersburg game, he moves back to play tailback. He had a fantastic year. They're going to look at him. And then now Josh Chillicothe, they've been lingering around the league.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say, buddy. They've been right there. They've been knocking on the door right behind that. They were right at that 3 spot last year as well. So, but we're not going to be seeing any of that, are we?
We're not. Now, after playing with the SEOAL, they've now moved to the South Central Ohio League, where they're going to be facing up against a lot of other teams. They had a young team, now a lot of veterans, and they're going to shake up that conference a lot next season.
All right, a lot to look forward to for the SEOAL. Thanks a lot, Graham. Now, through the first 10 weeks of the season, my most memorable times came when I was hanging out with all you fans for Fan of the Week. And we cherished our times together so much that we decided to throw together all of our favorite moments. Check it out.
Okay, you, dear Hopper, yeah, you come on, you Hopper.
He's got a nickname, and it's Dirty Mike.
Are these boards regulation size?
Yeah. One more time.
Yeah!
Praise the Lord. Go at it.
Yeah!
Traversing the mountain. Come on. Come on.
I was expecting a little bit more.
Regardless, Glenn, give it a try. Great hot dog here at Alexander. Thanks, Glenn. He's not our fan of the week.
50-50.
Huh? You wanted me over here.
No.
Me.
Your money.
Oh, okay. That's all you want from me? She just wanted my money.
Jake Roush, I'm Jaush Huntsberger. Nice to meet you. You got some Meg's pride in you, buddy?
I miss Jeff's old team.
One more time. Alexander! Down goes Frazier. I think I started a riot.
Well, hey, if everything's finished, you mind if I had a brat? Oh, man. I didn't have dinner tonight. You're saving me. You're saving me.
Excuse me, Bessie, here. We're looking for a fan of the week. We were wondering if you have any stake in the choices this week for fan of the week. Don't think so. All right, Bessie, Dora, we're talking to Bessie. Come on, Dora, leave us alone.
Thanks to all of our fans for all the laughs throughout the season. We definitely had a blast. Now, all you G-Force members out there had plenty to cheer about this season, with Wade Jarrell racking up over 2,000 yards of offense. But what I'm sure the Blue Devils fans were most excited about was that Jarrell was able to lead his troops to an SEOAL title and a playoff run, which made him a strong candidate for the next Gridiron Glory Player of the Year.
Wade Jarrell, Gallia Academy, quarterback. Gallia Academy is a special place. And the atmosphere is so great at Gallia Academy. It's just so cool. Whenever I make a run and just break some tackles, I just think to myself, I can't believe I just made that play, you know. Just running the end zone, scoring, getting that good feeling in your mind. Your teammates run up to you and tell you good job, and just run back sideline. Coaches telling you good job and stuff, you know, just makes me feel good. It feels good, you know. People doubting you and not respecting you at all, just to prove them wrong, just makes it even better. I just go out there and play my game and show the fans that I deserve this, and prove to my team that I can lead them to victory.
Listen, if this guy isn't the Player of the Year, something's wrong, because this cat is crazy.
It means the world to me. You know, I've been thinking about this ever since 8th grade, and it'd be so cool. You know, I have so much support at Gallia Academy and around the area, so just winning that, just get that for them would be really cool.
Jarrell finished the season 81 of 148 through the air with over 1,200 yards passing and 12 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions while throwing the ball. Now, he was also a great rushing quarterback with just under 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns on the ground. You know, we've been doing it all night. Colin Brown has him live right now.
Thanks, Josh. All right, now, Wade, beginning of the season, Coach Eddie says that he guarantees Gallia Academy wins the SEOAL. What kind of pressure does that put on you as a quarterback and the leader of the team?
It puts a lot of pressure on me, you know, just try to lead my team to victory every week and just get that goal of his. And at the end of the season, to finally get that goal just feels good.
Now, we just saw the fan of the week, some stuff from the G-Force. They're sick when you're out there. How electrifying is that to play in front of a crowd like that?
It's pretty cool to look up in the stands and have the G-Force cheering you on, and the blue crew out there and the blue suits and stuff. Just go to every away game and then fill the stands. It's a pretty cool feeling.
Now, 2 years ago, Player of the Year was Austin Wilson from Gallia Academy. Last year was Austin Osborne from Jackson. What would it mean to you to keep the Player of the Year in the SEOAL?
Yeah, it would be pretty cool. Ever since Austin Wilson was on here, I've been dreaming about this and being on here and just trying to win this for the SEOAL.
Now, we've got your brother Wes here in the stands. I hear he's a pretty good linebacker for the Blue Devils. Who's better, you or him?
He's going to get mad at me for saying this, but I think I'm better than him.
Yeah?
So.
All right, a little family rivalry. I like that. Now, you guys, you know, Jackson's your big rival. They've been getting you lately. The senior class never lost to you guys. You finally beat them this year. What was that like?
It was overwhelming, you know, just at the end of the game, winning, and all the seniors tearing up and just finally getting that league title and winning that game just meant a lot.
All right, thank you very much, Wade. Josh, that's all we have over here on the side set. So, back to you.
All right, thanks, buddy. Now, Plenty of pre-game trash talk surrounded our second-best game of the year. The round 1 battle between Gallia Academy and Archbishop McNicholas was a chippy, muddy, and somehow high-scoring game that was decided by just 2 points. Carter Rodriguez has the recap.
We're going to start things off in the first quarter. Austin Ernst hits Jacob Lind right in the back corner of the end zone. That sweet shot, 7-0 McNick. Wade Jarrell's not going to take that laying down, though. He goes flying down the field. Huge pickup. He's making folks miss. He's breaking tackles and gets deep into McNick territory. That's going to set up a TD to equalize, 7-7. Now it's 16-14 after a Gallia safety and touchdown in the second quarter, and Wade Jarrell decides that he likes the end zone and he'd like to be there immediately. Now it's 23-14 Gallia. They go into half up 23-21. In the second half, Ernst running a little more play action, finds his buddy Jacob Lind, and he doesn't have to go in the back corner because he's wide open, 28-23. Ty Warnemont, the explosive back for Gallia, got them the ball with a fumble recovery, and now he's going to get them some points. TD run from 13 yards out, now it's 30-23 Gallia. It's 37-35 now Gallia, and last drive for McNick, and Ernst picks up a monster first down to Thomas Vogel. They needed that one. They're still in the game. Very next play, Ernst hits Vogel again, but Vogel fumbles. Gallia Academy recovers, and they take the win, 37-35.
I'll switch gears over to the TVC-Ohio. Now, although they got off to a slow start, we were still fortunate enough to see the Week 10 rematch between Athens and Nelsonville York decide the conference. Here's Sarah Vallone to break down everything else that happened around the TVC-Ohio.
The TVC-Ohio, made up of 6 completely different teams, but with one similar goal in mind: to be the best they can be. The Megs Marauders entered this 2012 season with a new stadium and a new coach. Although the Marauders were unable to get a win in their new stadium, they finished the season with 3 strong wins. In Vinton County, although they played with heart, finished the season similar to last with only 1 win. And losing some close ones along the way, led by head coach Sean Arnold, the Alexander Spartans finished the season with 4 strong wins. And with their high-scoring offense to help them out, the Wilson Rockets running game led them to a 4-10 season. And the Nelsonville York's defense was on top of the TVC-Ohio, allowing only an average of 15 points per game, giving up only 155 points the entire season, finishing with a 7-3 record. And last but certainly not least, the Athens Bulldogs, who ran the TVC-Ohio with their high-powered offense. The Bulldogs ended their regular season play with a 9-1 record, but continued to roll past teams in the regional playoffs for a chance at the finals this Saturday.
We are now joined by our TVC-Ohio reporter, Mark Pierce. This guy knows a thing or two about the conference. Mark, did this conference live up to your expectations?
Absolutely, Josh. My second year in the TVC-Ohio didn't disappoint. I had a great time this year. And the TVC-Ohio fans came out and showed me why I think they're the best. They're the best conference. Season full of excitement, entertainment in the TVC-Ohio. Made multiple memories over the course of the year, and plenty of storylines. Made this season such a fun one to cover, and I want to touch on a few of those key themes beginning of throughout the year. Though I thought Nelsonville York would take this crown, but Athens showed me don't doubt the dogs. Anyways, we saw that Athens once again 2 years in a row wins the TVC-Ohio, but I want to talk about Alexander here for a little bit. They're tied for third, kind of an uncharacteristically tough year for them, but Gage Miller, a senior, balled out for him. 1,300 all-purpose yards, 16 total TDs, really a bright spot for the Spartans this year. And then, of course, Athens Bulldogs, second straight year. They kind of scared us. Week 1, they had that loss to Gallia Academy. We just talked to Wade Jarrell, so we saw that, but they got it going. 9 straight regular season wins, and Trey Williams was kind of the unsung hero. We heard a lot about Burrow, of course, well-deserving there, but 1,200 rushing yards for Williams on the year on 138 carries and 18 touchdowns. So really helped keep that Athens offense balanced. And now Nelsonville York, I told you I had them to win the TVC-Ohio, but couldn't get it done this year. You know, it's a tough year. They lost the first 2 games, but then they rattled off the wins, really competed for a TVC-Ohio title. Just fell a little short to that tough Bulldog squad.
All right, now Mark, real quick before we let you go, do you think Athens will win this league again?
Absolutely, because no doubt in my mind, with Burrow as a sophomore, this kid is just flat out talented, and he's got the work ethic to get them where they need to go. I see Athens taking a 3-peat TVC-Ohio championship.
We'll see if they can do it. Thanks a lot, Mark. Last week, the Athens Bulldogs were able to escape with a 1-point victory over Springfield Shawnee, improving their record to 11-1 and advancing them to the regional final. Saturday, they will take on the number 1 seeded Thurgood Marshall team, who completely handled Gallia Academy a week ago. We now welcome our TVC-Ohio reporter Pat Chiesa for a preview of the game. Pat, we have a fun one on our hands Saturday night.
Josh, we most certainly do. If you're a fan of high school football, then let me tell you, Reynoldsburg is the place to be Saturday night. 2 11-1 teams, only one will advance to the state Final Four. Man, I'm getting pumped up just talking about it. Let's break this baby down. What's so intriguing about this matchup are the offensive sets that each of these teams run. As you probably know, Athens runs the no-huddle spread, and they have run it extremely well so far this season, 52.3 points per game. Then you look at the Thurgood Marshall Cougars. They run a wing T, very different from a spread. And forgive me, Josh, but they have run it to a T so far this season, nearly 57 points per game. And of course, what's a good offense without a solid defense? Both of these teams possess that as well. The Athens Bulldogs in particular have improved leaps and bounds over the last 10 weeks in comparison to their first 2. And believe you me, they will be put to the test Saturday night against the Cougars. Let me hit you with a stat right here. Thurgood Marshall wingbacks Denzel Norvell and Vionte Copeland have combined for, I swear I'm not making this up, 3,849 yards and 60 touchdowns. Yeah, and it's unreal. And talking with Athens coach Ryan Adams said, Coach, how are you going to stop these guys? He said, we're not going to stop them. We're just going to try to contain them. He said on the defensive line, the Bulldogs are going to stick with their 5-man front, but they are going to try to load the box and force Thurgood Marshall to pass. Josh, this is going to be a high-scoring game in my opinion. I think we're going to see a shootout, but one thing is for sure, we're going to see some grade A football in Reynoldsburg tomorrow night. Get your popcorn ready.
Oh, I'm ready, buddy. I know you are too. Great job tonight.
Thanks.
Now, to keep up with Athens and Wahama, log on to our website at woub.org/gridiron. There you can find score updates and recaps for both of our Saturday games. You can also find final standings, playoff progress, and after the show, see who was named our Gridiron Glory Player of the Year. For the second year in a row, the Athens Bulldogs were on the winning side of our Game of the Year. Their matchup last week against Springfield Shawnee saw 4 lead changes and a fourth-quarter comeback led by Joey Burrow to keep their season alive. Pat Moore has the call on our Game of the Year.
Third-seeded Athens Bulldogs against the 7th-seeded Shawnee Braves in the Division III Region 12 semifinals. Start off in the second half with Athens down 28-22, and Joey Burrow is picked off by Shawnee's Hagen Blaine, who takes it all the way down to the Athens 33-yard line. A few plays later, J.D. Davis takes the handoff to the 1-yard line, and that play ends the third quarter. And on the first play of the fourth quarter, Davis takes it again, this time from 1 yard out, Shawnee with a commanding 35-22 lead. But hey, Joey Burrow is a Player of the Year candidate for a reason. He finds Ryan Luerman for a 10-yard touchdown connection that cuts the Braves' lead to 6. Athens with the ball again, still trailing, facing a 4th and 2. Burrow hooks up with Skylar Schwartzel for the huge 4th down conversion, which would set up this Trey Williams carry that may be the run of the year for the Bulldogs, avoiding Shawnee's strip attempts beautifully and taking it all the way to the 1-yard line. Williams would then punch it in the painted grass the following play, giving the Bulldogs the late fourth quarter lead, 36-35. Shawnee with one last chance in Athens territory, and senior Skylar Schwartzel, who made the 4th down catch earlier, this time with the game-clinching interception. Athens is your winner, 36-35, and they move on to the regional finals in this year's Gridiron Glory Game of the Year.
Now, when you watch a sports show, you often hear people compare an amazing stat line to video game-like numbers. But when it comes to Joey Burrow, I don't think most of us could put up his numbers when playing on the amateur settings of Madden. The kid has accounted for 58 touchdowns this season. Yeah, you heard me right. And his season isn't even over.
Joey Burrow, quarterback from Athens High. I knew that I was pretty good and that the guys around me were going to help me a lot this season, but I didn't really think that I would have this good of a season. I just try to do the best I can, just get it into position for my receivers to make the catch and make guys miss, and then when I get called on to run, I just try to run. When I roll out, Adam and Ryan do a great job of getting open. They go downfield, and a lot of times I just throw it up deep to Adam and Ryan when I'm rolling out, and they just go up and make a great grab. We want to score every single time we touch the football, and we don't want to punt, and we just want to get as many yards as possible, score as many points as possible, and blow teams out. Yeah. Joey Burrow, quarterback from Athens High.
Now, Joey was 185 for 287 for just over 3,000 yards so far this season with 45 touchdowns. He also ran for 700 on 141 carries for 13 touchdowns. Now, since Joey has a game to play on Saturday, we weren't able to keep him up this late in the studio, but Colin Brown was able to catch up with him earlier today for his thoughts on this Player of the Year race.
So, Joe, you had 3,002 passing yards this season, broke the Athens single-season record. What was that like?
It was a great feeling. My teammates have been great this year. My wide receivers made a bunch of catches. My linemen give me time, and I just wanted to go out and make some school history.
Now, as far as varsity play goes, last year you saw a little bit of time as defensive back, and now this season, 45 touchdown passes later, you are the commander of that Athens offense. What was that transition like at a varsity level?
Well, during the summer, I was anticipating being wide receiver and defensive back, and then Michael Germano moved to California, and I just tried to step in, do the best I could at quarterback.
So what was that like to adjust so quickly?
Well, we were learning a new offense, and it wasn't that hard. Coach White did a great job of preparing our offense and our entire team for this year.
Now, your dad coaches at OU, and you've had a lot of D1 athletes in your family. What's that like being raised in a football family like that?
Well, they all give me great confidence and to go D1. That's what I'd like to do. And my brothers, they both went D1. They give me great advice. And my dad, we watch film a lot, and he gives me tips on how to read the defense, and it's a great confidence booster.
All right, thanks a lot, Joe, and good luck tomorrow against Thurgood Marshall.
Thank you.
All right, now before we reach the conclusion of our show, I'd like to take a moment to say thanks. Thanks to our entire crew for putting in countless hours of hard work and dedication to produce a great sports show. Thanks to everyone at WOUB for giving us the opportunity to do what we love most, talk football. And a special thanks goes out to you, football fans. As I said in week 1, hosting this show was something I had dreamed of since grade school, and thanks to you, it was an experience that I'll treasure for the rest of my life. Now let's put all that sappy stuff behind us and get to the moment you've all been waiting for. The fans have voted, and the results are in. This year's Gridiron Glory Player of the Year is Wade Jarrell from Gallia Academy. All right, well, here he is, the winner. This is yours, Wade. Congratulations, buddy. Now, you got the SEOAL title, the playoff run. Now this. How's it feel, buddy?
It feels great. It's a dream come true. After a league title and just winning this has been really cool.
All right, 3 straight SEOAL Player of the Years. What's that say about this league?
Domination.
Domination.
Yeah, this league's pretty stacked, and just keep this going is really sweet.
All right, well, you're only a junior. Do you think there's a chance we might see you on this desk again next year?
You might if I have another good season, so that's what I'm hoping for.
You got to be so modest. All right,
yeah.
Wade Jarrell, thanks a lot for being here tonight, and congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
Hey, well, that does it, everyone. Another memorable season of Gridiron Glory is in the books. We've enjoyed every second along the way, and we hope you did too. Congrats again to you, Wade Jarrell, for being named the Season 14 Player of the Year. And thanks again for an incredible ride, everyone. For the final time, I'm Jaush Huntsberger reminding you that there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Good for you, man.
That's going to be so much fun.
There was a time I was the king. back of the football team. And we have worked so hard in the August heat, 2 times a day, 6 days a week.
In a world without any gridiron glory. I don't know, I'm going with that.
Butterflies, I felt there before that first game. Left when the whistle blew, as fast as they had came. When I said, you go short and you go long, and so we never make it over. And just let the scoreboard tell the story.
The guy got it!
This is first down in our lives to go. You won't forget these times, you know.
All right, we're here with our producer, Glenn Janos, here to try the deep fried hot dog. Glenn, that's just a hot dog.
Yeah. I was expecting a little bit more. Yeah.
Regardless, thanks, Glenn. He's not our fan of the week.
I couldn't pick a face out of the crowd, but when the touchdowns came, they got so loud. Ain't that what life is all about? Heading to the party in my used 10-man-down car. The big game is next.
Don't let anyone say any differently. I'm part of the show.
Go short and you go long. And some we never make it, but they were wrong. And just let the scoreboard tell you. Cause it's first down in our lives to go. Don't forget these times, you know. Friday nights and Gridiron Glory. I said you go short and you go long. And some we never make it, but they were wrong. And just let the scoreboard tell the story. Cause it's first down in our lives to go. Don't forget these times, you know. Friday nights and Gridiron Glory. Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Winners win. Gridiron on 3.
1, 2, 3, Gridiron!